And that's, one of the biggest things when I'm done playing football now for Dal, unfortunately. I wanted to, kind of at least contribute, leave it a little bit better than it was before.
Hey Tigers, and welcome back to Season 2 of Tackle Talks, our student-run and produced show where we get to showcase some of the amazing athletes and staff members that make our program great and define what it means to be a Tiger. Today I'm joined by the king of eternal optimism and an absolute unit that I would not want to run into in a dark alley, Christian Riley.
What's going on?
So Christian, we're actually going to get straight into it for you.
Fantastic.
You have been very decorated in your time here. You won D-Lineman of the Team in 2023, and you won D-Lineman of the Year for both the league and the team in 2024, and you have an All-Star from 3 of your years in 2022, 2023, and 2024. How has retirement been treating you?
It's been good. After the first couple months, I'm like, I have so much time. Not a lot of practice. I'm like, I just have so much time in the day. But then after a while, I'm like, wish I could get back on the field. So
Want to
keep
get
you
back
posted. Yeah.
Well, we're going to get to that later. But you're from my hometown of Calgary, Alberta, which is the correct place to be from, in case anyone was wondering.
Absolutely.
Especially since we have someone from Saskatchewan behind the mic or behind the camera. When did you and how did you start playing football? And who did you play for?
So I played at Western Canada High School. I started in grade 10.
Red Hawk man?
Absolutely. It was my first ever experience playing football. Some of my older friends, when I got to the school, they played. They said you should come out. And defense, they got all the sweet jerseys, like the skull and the bones. And I'm like, that looks tough. So I was, I didn't really have much hand-eye coordination. So I thought, I might as well tackle people for the next 7 years.
So you only started playing football in grade 10. Was there a sport that you played before that?
Yeah, I competitively skied for 10 years. When I moved to Calgary when I was 7 or 8, I picked up ski racing, then went to slalom and slope style, big mountain. I did all of it.
I didn't know you weren't from Calgary. Where were you born?
I was originally born in Windsor, Ontario.
Oh.
Yeah. So still go back very often to see all the family, but and that's why I'm a big Detroit Lions fan. Yes, as I mentioned. And
fair enough, right across the bridge, right?
100%, no doubt.
So you competitively skied. Anything else?
I played a little bit of basketball, but
I could see that. Pretty tall.
I mean, as I mentioned earlier, the hand-eye is a little shoddy, so that didn't last too long.
Well, there you are, taking people down, which actually brings me to my next question. Obviously, this is the sport that you took on, but what makes football your sport of choice?
I mean, it's the ultimate team sport. It is the best sport on the planet. It brings out the best of people. It's hard. It's just if you don't like strapping up the helmet and you don't immediately fall in love with it, I don't know what to do for you.
That is so fair.
Yeah.
You have also played a whole bunch of positions in your time, including linebacker and defensive end. What is it about defensive tackle that you think really worked for you and that you landed on it?
Yeah, so I played linebacker in high school, and then I came out and I started playing at Dal, and I always like to joke about it. They just looked at me and they're like, "You're not a 5'10" fire hydrant. We're moving you to the D-line." It's a little shot at the linebackers, but then just not a whole lot of. I think it takes a little bit more finesse on the defensive end.
That's fair.
So I gave that a go, and eventually it just, I was best at mask through chest. And then
pretty straightforward.
So, and I thrived in that. So it was just, I feel like at defensive tackle, it's just who can be meaner.
I love that.
And, my dad has an old saying.
Because I look at you and I see mean.
Oh, yeah. I was say my dad has a saying, I'll paraphrase it to, clean up the language a little bit. But if you want to play a game on who can be the bigger mean person, I'll win every time. So, so yeah.
There you go. That actually brings me perfectly into my next question. In high school, you actually won the Hart Award for being a great teammate. And I feel like now you're known, like, I think it was Coach Freddie, but he fully said, like, in your award speech that he actually thought you were faking it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because you were just so eternally optimistic. Where would you say that comes from?
I'm just trying to be a net positive. You know, when I'm in, you know, a team environment, just trying my best to kind of lift up the energy, especially when it's in the colder months, or, you know, we're late into the season, no one's 100% healthy. When I'm out there, I'm trying to lift up the energy a little bit, because it's already tough enough, you know.
True.
So.
True.
Yeah.
And you have an incredibly iconic catchphrase. Ain't nobody bigger than the program.
Ain't nobody bigger than
we
the
had to
program.
drop it. Where did that come from?
I mean, it's just a hilarious thing to say, but if you really, I eventually like took a step back and be like, it is true though. It's, you know, the team. Nobody is bigger than the team. So this just goes to when you're carrying out equipment, you know, doesn't matter if you're first year, fourth year, carry out equipment. You know, if the coach thinks you'd be more effective in this position or this position, you know, just however you can help the team. You know, sometimes, what is the old Bill Belichick quote talking about, you know, it's all about sometimes what's doing best for the team is not necessarily what's doing what's best for you. And
it's about that sacrifice.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, to kind of move on to the juicy stuff, I believe you also got into Concordia. What brought you to Dal?
Yeah, I mean, so Concordia, I got a chance recently actually to check out the campus. I was visiting Montreal recently here. And yeah, I got in for English writing or like literary arts or whatever. And I got in here for business management. I said, you know, probably should go take business management. But a small part of me is like, that would have been cool as well, you know?
Well, who knows? There's still time.
Oh, 100%.
There's still time.
100%. I'm going to reinvent myself. Start wearing a beret.
Why not?
Yeah.
Just go. Somebody clip a picture of that.
Yeah. 100%.
Speaking of which, as you kind of mentioned earlier, in your first year, you actually started as a linebacker here before being moved by Coach Haggett to the D-line.
Yeah.
How would you say your first year experience was?
My first year experience was interesting. I don't know. It was on the tail end of COVID, and, you know, I feel like many people that were isolated for, you know, so long, you know, coming in across the country, meeting new people. It took some time to adjust, but I feel like football is the best thing for me at the time. It gave me an outlet, right? Started to build up the social connections or whatever. Yeah, actually, circling back to Coach Haggett, there's a funny story about that. When I got a call from my dorm, I woke up to the phone call, and it's Coach Haggett saying, I have an opportunity for you. And immediately, I like cut off. I said, I'm getting moved to the D-line, aren't I? He said, absolutely. I said, sounds good, Coach.
Knew it.
I knew it.
What was it about it that made you know that was going to happen?
Because there was like 16 linebackers, right? And who are all phenomenal players. And, but yeah, I just was, you know, a little bit taller, a little bit longer, and maybe wasn't as effective at linebacker. And luckily it turned out for the best, though.
Well, absolutely. And how do you think that shift kind of influenced, obviously, you know, as soon as you hit your stride, you've been annihilating ever since. How do you think that helped you to grow to, you know, the player that you are now?
You know, it just comes back to my original philosophy, you know, the Hart Award and all this. It's all about, you know, maybe not being like the most naturally gifted or talented, but just working hard and you'll eventually find your stride. And so, you know, football is football. To me, it didn't really matter what position I was going to play. And ultimately, you know, with the great coaching staff that we have here, they found where best to fit my talents, and it turned out for the best. Yeah,
absolutely. Oh, well, you had a strong start to the program, actually, because in your first year, which would have been 2021,
I believe so,
you guys won a championship. And then in your second year, you won a big championship.
Yes.
How was the energy after, you know, going back to back?
That second championship was so important to me. Because the first year, once again, like kind of being like a tweener, like not really am I a linebacker, am I defensive end, never really played that position before. I didn't really get much playing time, as a rookie, and just kind of learning, developing through practice, getting more comfortable in the field, confidence. And it was great when we won that ring. I got to see what success looks like, what a winning team looks like. Of course, as a part of that team, but seeing what it's like, communicating on the field, working hard, and what practice should look like. That second year, I was playing defensive tackle, and it was the first year that I was starting. So this is like meaningful minutes, like really, truly. Of course, anyone in practice, everyone's important to winning a championship, whether you're playing or not. But it felt different because I was starting, and I had a lot of responsibility because of UNB's strong run game. And yeah, I just remember coming back because we were down by quite a bit. We came back to win the game. The emotion was crazy. At their field, I remember after we won, I called my parents and I was like, I did it.
You did it.
I did it. I had so much, because I had, I had doubt, and then I came out, and it was a tough game, tough guys out there, and it was a battle, and we overcame it. So
I love that. Awesome. Yeah, and then obviously throughout those seasons and the 4 years you've been here, you've had a handful of injuries, especially some trouble with your calves. How do you think the medical infrastructure that we have has kind of supported that? If it has.
It has been absolutely fantastic. I think it's one thing that we have here at Dal. It is a huge competitive advantage that we have. The medical staff that we have, like the training staff, ensures that we get players, our best players, all of our players on the field, back on the field. It's an advantage to us winning, staying healthy throughout the season, having that, during the season, the ability to rehabilitate and come back stronger. It's huge.
Well, obviously you did come back stronger, quite literally. My next question is actually about the 2023 to 2024 off season. I had the pleasure of training with all of these guys, and you in particular, I saw you lifting some really serious weight. How do you think that the program that we put in place kind of helped you guys to obviously go undefeated and kind of just annihilate the season in 2024?
I mean, it was fantastic. The resources that we have at Dal, once again, top notch. Like, we had the high performance room, gave us the opportunity to, work together as a team, keeping that team aspect throughout the year, building that chemistry on and off the field. The great part about it as well, although it was heavily encouraged by the coaching staff, it was very, spearheaded from the players. The players took the initiative kind of to organize, okay, here's the workout program, here's what we want to do, holding each other accountable. It was fantastic. So not just only getting physically stronger, but we're getting mentally stronger. We're overcoming hard things together, not just on the football field. So I felt when we came back, we weren't just also a whole lot bigger. We were just a tougher and closer knit unit.
And to kind of touch on the culture a little bit, how is that for you, and how do you think it contributes kind of to, the atmosphere that we have in the club?
Talking about the culture, I think, culture is the most important thing. It's kind of like, I won't say it's kind of overplayed. People always use this term culture, but it's true. It's true. It's very important. Culture is the thing that's going to push us that extra yard. To work harder for each other. Culture is a huge thing, and that's one of the biggest things when I'm done playing football now for Dal. Fortunately, I wanted to kind of at least contribute. Leave it a little bit better than it was before. So, and I feel like when my time in the locker room, making sure everyone's feeling included, right?
That you do well.
Thank you.
Very well.
I try because I know. When people are comfortable and confident on the field, they play at their best. So if you're out there, worried about making a mistake, worried about what other people are going to say if you make a mistake, I've had those thoughts in the football field before. And that's impacted how I've played. So going in there, setting the tone, being like, hey, I'm a fourth-year player. I'm going to make a bunch of mistakes. The coaches are going to chew me out. It doesn't matter as long as we're running hard. And we're getting there, and we get better.
Coming back to this last year, obviously I've only been around for about 2 seasons now, but I finally got the opportunity to meet your family, and they are delightful. And I know that they come out to quite a few of the games. What is it like kind of having them here? Does that help you play better?
Oh, makes me want to run through a wall. Having the family coming out, it's like you cannot lose in front of your family. That is like, the family shows out, you lose. Oh, heartbreaking. So that extra motivation. I do like my little. I think that the main thing that gets me fired up before a game is the national anthem.
Oh, there you go.
It's that national pride gets me going. I'm a patriot. When I hear that national anthem play, I'm fired up. I look out into the crowd, I see the family, and I'm like, it's go time. And some of my best games I've ever played is because of my brother and my sister being there, and my parents. It was actually really cool this season in particular. My sister's now in first year.
Yes.
So she got a chance to come to all the home games. And, it really helped me, step my game up, I guess.
Absolutely. And just to, touch a little bit on our game day atmosphere, what would you describe the energy like from, that first moment where you guys are first in the locker room and then to run onto the field and play your game?
It's fantastic. I mean, especially in our league, with the number of teams that we have, we play each other so often to where these are, very intense rivalries. We really do want to, come out victorious. The energy in the locker room before is, especially for the guys after 4 years, we've played these opponents so many times where there's no other option but to go out there and beat these guys. It feels like a little bit more than football. And then we get out there on the field, smoke, crowd. It's awesome. And, the weather's fantastic during football season, usually in Halifax. So, especially in the earlier months, homecoming, we have fresh faces on campus coming out to the games. And all of the staff does a great job of, keeping the crowd engaged during like halftime or whatever. There's always great games and contests played. Especially this year, I think every single year we've taken it up a notch. So it's been fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, that kind of brings me to the end of my cards. Congratulations. You are about to graduate. We've only got, I think, about a month to go, right?
Yep.
Congratulations on that. What's next for Christian? What are we gonna see you do next?
I will now be taking my talents to Alabama. I'm just playing. I don't know. Probably do some traveling and then, start to get back to work. And yeah, gonna start by heading west, go visit back home Calgary, get a little summer job, and save up so I can do some traveling, and then come back and put my tie on and do a job like that. So.
Place to be.
100%.
Well, thank you so much for coming in. It's been a real pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Playing with you, and you really are one of the biggest teddy bears and the biggest supporters, and it's always been a delight since the moment that I met you.
Yeah, I try my best. Thank you so much for all your guys' contribution to the team, and go Tigers.
Go Tigers.